Years ago, after my husband and I went on our only trip to Hawaii, we fell in love with Kalua Pig, and they served it everywhere, even in the fast food places. They had Kalua Pig, and we loved it every time we tried it. We were lucky enough to have a neighbor who was from Hawaii who showed us a quick way to do Kalua Pig. Traditionally, they dig a pit, they build a huge fire, they burn the fire down, then they wrap a whole pig in burlap and banana leaves. It's a whole it takes a crew of men to roast a whole pig the traditional way. This method that my friend showed me is way easier, and I think it tastes just as good as the authentic Kalua Pig, although it's hard to replace banana leaves, which we're not even attempting. First of all, we start with heavy-duty aluminum foil. Don't even bother if it's the standard weight. That's too thin. And you will need double sheets. So what I like to do is, and use plenty, I like to put the foil sheet in my pen both ways. One long ways and one across ways. And that's going to be your pit. It will give you a way to cook this meat long and slow. So where is the pig? Well, we have from the supermarket a nice roast. This one was about $12, and as soon as I get it out, I will show you the price. It was $11.59. It's $1.78 a pound. So I don't want to lose any juices, so I'm opening this bag right in my aluminum foil. Now, of course, I'm contaminating my scissors by opening it with scissors, but I just run it through the dishwasher and it'll be good to go again. Honey, could you just put that right there? Okay, so underneath underneath the roast, you will see a fat cap, and you do want to remove that because it's just too oily if you leave that on. So excuse my fingers, and I think you can see it. What I learned from the bearded butcher is that you start the exit of the fat by piercing underneath the fat. Now you may have to wrestle, and I'm letting you see me wrestle because I want you to know this is the only ugly part of it. But it is important to get as much of that fat off your roast as you can, because you don't need it. It's marbled with fat, and it will just be much better. I lost a little bit of the meat, but that's okay. I'm not even going to worry about the rest of that. That is enough. Now, contamination. Joanne, can you hand me a cloth? Fine. Contamination is really important to avoid. I'm going to show you what I do. I have 2 tricks for avoiding contaminating things I'll want to use again. We use both salt and pepper, but I'll put that on last. And our secret ingredient is hickory seasoning. This smoked seasoning works very well. I'm going to pour some, this is the same thing, just in a jar. And I'm going to pour it into this separate place, and I'll need about that much. I'll need quite a bit of smoky seasoning. And then I'm going to brush it, and the rest of what I don't use in here I will throw away. That way, this main one is not ever contaminated. So I'm going to lift this up just a little bit so that I can brush it. I want to brush it on both sides. So you just brush everywhere. If there's a nook or a cranny, go ahead and brush away. Brush every angle of this roast. And as I said, you can't overdo it, but I'm going to throw away what I don't use. So that's why you want to put it in a separate jar.
Now, is that straight from the bottle or is that watered
Straight
down?
from the bottle. It's not watered down at all. And you need this. This is going to save you from all those hours roasting the pig in a pit. Just to be sure I have enough, I'm going to pour a little extra. Don't be fearful. And maybe at the bottom. Bonnie, you can put this in the sink. And now my last part for not contaminating is what I do. If you're using kosher salt, it's very hard to overdo it. Now I'm going to have to wipe the outside of this container that I'm holding, but I just across the top.
Wow, it's a lot.
No, it's kosher salt. So look, I put some on and then I'm just kind of rubbing it on.
Was kosher salt less salty flavor?
Yes.
Oh, I did not know that.
You can get away with, because it's a little flaky. It's not as flaky as Bonnie's flaked salt. But that is a fair amount of salt, and you haven't contaminated anything. I'm going to wash my hands, and then we'll do the pepper.
Does it, you only rub it on the top? Huh?
I do, because what you're going to do when it's all through is you're going to shred the meat. And that way, if there's something that needs a little bit more salt, it will get it before you serve it. So I'm washing my hands now, and that takes care of, with the exception of washing this one jar, which I've got over here to remind myself. With that exception, and look, on the outside of this cloth, I have used it, it's contaminated, but the other side is perfectly good to use. So I now have totally clean hands, and I'll just use a pepper shaker. And some people like more pepper than others. Just pepper it the way you feel. It's not even necessary to have pepper, but my husband loves pepper in everything. So next what you're gonna do is fold up all your layers, and you want this to be tightly sealed. So this big outer one that you've prepared is going to seal it up as if we put the prepared pig down in the pit and covered it up with dirt. This is a lot cleaner. Now we will put it in a slow oven. I recommend that you set your oven for about 200 degrees, and it can go for hours. You'll need it at least to go 12 hours. It may need more. If you're trying to get it ready to serve, have it ready a few hours ahead of time, because this meat holds very well. It won't dry out. It's marbled with fat, and it's been cooked long and low. So your window of opportunity is be sure and roast it at 200 for at least 12 hours. This roast has now been roasting for 16 hours.
Oh.
It's been long and low, and we've been checking it. You can keep checking with a thermometer to see that it's coming up to the correct temperature, and that will be in your recipe. Now we're going to shred this meat. Because this meat has a lot of fat in it, it's normally a very tough piece of meat, but it's now been rendered tender. There is a bone in this one, but just scrape up to the bone. Okay. This is now easily shreddable. It's so tender. This is why you've been patient. And as I said, this can't dry out. You've sealed it up with those two heavy pieces of aluminum foil. So it's a little messy to take the bone out, but you can do it. And the marrow in that bone has sunk into the meat, and it's part of the deliciousness of Kalua Pig. This looks a little strange. This is not what we're used to doing in our kitchens at all, but this does mimic Kalua Pig in an amazing way.
so easy to come apart.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Now there's a lot of juice in here. Most of it has stayed right in the foil. There's, if you can see right here, there's very little that has leaked out. But now I'm going to attempt to get it all combined, both the juices and the meat, all out into this dish.
Beautiful.
Now, the presentation of this should be done out of the view of your diners because that doesn't look real pretty. But imagine how it looks, those wonderful Hawaiian cooks that do it in a pit. They're dealing with dirt and chicken wire and burlap and banana leaves. This, believe me, is a lot easier.
It smells amazing.
So there you have it. You have a very good tasting Kalua pig. It's a little hot.
It is amazing.
It's important to have the patience
Wow.
to cook it long and low, but no apologies for the shortcut.
No.
Oh, delicious.
It's amazing.
This is our Hawaiian plate. It has a home-baked roll, it has long rice, it has Kalua pig and fruit. It doesn't get better than this.